wash my hands before I testify?
After,
for sure. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair, Committee. Mike Bernskoetter, like she said, presenting Senate Bill 103. This is all this does is extend a sunset for the deal closing fund from, it's supposed to expire coming up here in June of 25, but it extends the sunset to 2031. How the deal closing fund works: a company must create new jobs. They must pay at least 100% of the average county wage. Only 21.5% of the overall tax credit cap may be set aside for the deal closing fund. And there's a clawback provision in there. Failure by the company to create and maintain new jobs within the state of Missouri for a period of at least 10 years will result in repayment of the benefits. This was created in 2019, and it really hasn't been used because of COVID, but we do have one project that is accepted the deal closing fund. Boeing has accepted the fund for 500 new jobs, $1.8 billion in investments, and none of the tax credits have been issued yet because they're waiting on federal approval. But those are the parameters of the deal closing fund, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, and if I can't, we have people behind me that can.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any questions? Seeing none, first to testify in support, please come forward.
Hi. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Michelle Hadaway. I'm the director for the Missouri Department of Economic Development, here to testify in support of the bill. So kind of take you back, the Missouri Works program is our main tool for attracting and retaining companies into the state. So this is what we use as incentives to make sure that companies are choosing Missouri to grow and make those investments. The deal closing fund is a component of the Missouri Works program, something we're really, really proud of, and it's going to help us continue to be competitive against Arkansas and Kansas and other states. Both Arkansas and Kansas have a deal closing fund, and they have no cap on their program. So while ours is extremely competitive, we believe it's another tool in our toolbox to make sure that we are winning projects against other states. We do have a cap on our program. So all we're asking for today is just to extend it so we can continue to use that tool as we're working to retain and attract. And happy to answer any questions.
The senator mentioned that this hasn't been used particularly widely, in large part because of COVID. What is your intention of making sure that this is a tool that gets pulled out of the toolbox?
Absolutely. So I would tell you two things. One, it was passed in 2019, COVID hit, companies weren't necessarily concerned with making large investments and huge job creations they were trying to sustain, right? We have offered it a couple other times. The one that has accepted it is Boeing. We're cautious in when we offer it, I will tell you that. We are cautious with taxpayer dollars and the tool that's used to incentivize that. So while we will use it competitively, we will still be reserved whenever we do offer it, because we want to make sure there's good job creation, there's a large amount of investment, and the return to the state is imperable whenever we're looking at that.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you. Next witness in support, please come forward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brian Grace here on behalf of the Missouri Economic Development Council. We think this is an important tool, even though it hasn't been used that often. Actually, I'd like to applaud the department for not using it that often. I think this is something that should be used very sparingly, but when we need it, we really do need it to close a deal. So I think it's important that we continue to have it in the toolbox.
Any questions for this witness? Next witness in support.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. My name is John Barget, and I'm appearing here on behalf of the Missouri Community College Association. I'd like to thank Senator Bernskoetter and Director Hadaway for the efforts they've made on this. These are very valuable tools to helping businesses stay in our state and our communities. We work a lot with a lot of these companies at the community college level. And thank you for giving us such a prompt hearing, Madam Chairperson.
Thanks so much. Any questions? Thank you for being here. Next witness in support.
Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Smith. I'm with Associated Industries of Missouri. We want to go on record of support of this bill. The Missouri Works program has done wonders for Missouri. It provides incentives for businesses, and we want to make sure that and be on support for this bill extending the sunset, which is an essential tool for the Missouri Works program. So happy to answer any questions.
Seeing none, thanks for being here. Next witness
Thank you.
in support.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Laura Holloway. I'm with the Missouri Municipal League. We represent 650 cities across the state, and our cities support this tool. It's in our policy, actually, that we would even remove the cap if we could. So we definitely support the extension, and thank you for bringing that. I'm happy to help with any questions.
Seeing none, thanks for being here today. Next witness in support.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Cade Tremaine. I am here today on behalf of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry in support of Senate Bill 103. The Missouri Works program has been a positive impact on Missouri's economic workforce, Missouri's economic and workforce development, specifically in regards to the expansion and retention of Missouri businesses. And we believe that by extending Missouri Works into 2030, we are ensuring that businesses in the state will continue to have access to the tools that they need to strengthen our workforce. The Missouri Chamber strongly supports Senate Bill 103 because extending Missouri Works into 2030 supports businesses and it can expand our workforce. With that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Seeing none, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else here in support? Last call, anyone in support? Anyone here in opposition? Anyone here for informational purposes only? Seeing none, that'll conclude the hearing on Senate Bill 103. Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is to look at and approve the public reporting system that we had talked about at our last, our first work session. We're a small subcommittee that is meeting right now, but I'm glad it seems like we have a diversity of opinions that are well represented, hopefully, by the committee members that are here. And I'd like to thank Senate IT staff for being here, for your help in walking us through making sure that both the language is correct and then also what it says looks right. Okay, so you'll see that we're underneath the committee, we're creating government efficiency portal, and that top left button on the front page. And then from there, do we need more? Yeah, of course. Anybody else need one? Do you want a copy? If you guys want a copy, I think we've got it. Or if you want to sit where you can see the screen, we're going to put it up on the screen once Tabitha gets it going for us. Thank you for doing this. Oh, no problem. It's a pretty picture. I don't think I've seen that one of the building.
Being from the IT department, this is rather embarrassing.
No, okay, actually, you're great. That's totally fine. While this is loading,
We're going to work through the handout if we can.
we can, or is it okay if we pause while this is loading and we'll do something else real quick?
Sure, by all means.
Okay. We had talked about all of the things that people had ideas about what do we want to be working on and focusing on. And so, Senators, I have printed off from our notes from the first meeting, working session, a variety of different concerns that I think go into these frameworks of implementation concerns, what the regulatory framework looks like, staffing concerns, information technology concerns, procurement, pensions, something called lapsed initiatives, which is, I think, under a broad umbrella of things the legislature put into statute but then never was implemented. Fund balances, facilities, taxpayer services, which by and large I think could be used as analogous to the customer experience. So under that I'd put things like the wait times for calling, those types of concerns, and then operational inefficiencies. And so rather than just start on bringing people in kind of and having conversations broadly, I thought it might make sense for us to have a targeted approach. And so I was hoping that we could do something called an NGT. It's a nominal group technique of getting everybody's opinion. And so because there's 10 different buckets that were in the working session that came up with, if we just each of us all put a 6 by our top choice all the way down to 1 of our last choice, and we rank the things that we want to work on, then we'll have some guidance about where this committee should start, and I'll just start calling the hearings, but I didn't want to do that unilaterally. So we'll pass this out to everybody else, and if they get just turned into my office by the end of the day, and if there's a sunshine request, we'll make sure that that's available to anybody who's interested in how we ranked things. And so does that make sense, Senators? Like, so, you know, if IT is our top concern, you'd put a 6, and then we'll add up all of the totals, and the things that have the highest number are what the committee thinks should be the most pressing concerns, and we'll start there and work our way through the list. But that gives a little bit of structure to the work that we're doing. Okay. Any questions, comments? Did I leave anything off?
Madam Chair, so these would be due to your office by the end of the day?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right,
Is that good?
sounds good.
Senator Lewis, is that? Okay, awesome.
Is it restarting, Tabby, on your end? Okay. This was working perfectly fine before.
Well,
they
it's,
came in the room.
that's what it always happens.
It's
There was a guy who ran my IT for me when I was working, running a business, and he had some acronym I can never remember that meant the problem was between the chair and the machine. And it was always really true. It was always my fault that things weren't working. So I'm relieved to see that I'm not the only one who has
No,
that problem.
Not at all. Not at all. At least, okay.
Yeah. Oh, the idiot between the desk and the key.
Yeah, it's referred to as an ID 10T error.
Yeah, an ID
If you
10
write
tier.
down ID 10T, it spells idiot.
Yes, there we go. This was my problem always. I couldn't get it to go. So happy to see other people have those problems.
I asked her to restart her computer real quick. This, for some reason, doesn't like the connection. We use this for everything.
No, you're great.
Okay. The first thing she's going to pull up, if it connects, is the current Senate website for your committee. In the top left-hand corner of that, there's currently 2 links. That one of them are the bills reported to the committee, and then the other one is the committee members, obviously here, but there's also a list from that separate link. But what we've done is we're going to add another link, but we've put these behind 3 buttons. That's what your top page shows, those 3 buttons to the top left. They're just more visually appearing. As we've seen in the rebuild of our website, people like buttons more than links, so we try to make it more appealing when we can. So that's what the far left button is. That one is where a constituent would click on that button and then they would fill out a form. To that button on the top left is where we're talking about. Once they do that, oh, that's okay. So once you've clicked the button, we move on to the second page of your handout, which is what the portal form will look like. And again, these are drafts. This is where we went with the first bit of information that we received on what you were looking for. The constituent will fill out all of the highlighted fields. We do not have telephone number as a required field. That can be changed. Any of this can be changed, but it just depends on what information you want to gather from the person. They also, as they fill this out, there's a policy area, which, if you'll notice on the form, the policy area is actually a drop-down. And so we took different policy areas that we gathered. We were given an example of the one from Oklahoma, if I remember right, and used those criteria as a starting point. So as the person picks their particular policy area, that'll actually show up in the email that you're going to get from this information. So the constituent goes through, they fill this out, they're going to select whatever they want. They're going to click the button to prove that they're not a robot. And then from there, the next thing that they're going to see, once they hit submit or send a message, they get a response right away that shows their name, because we had it from the page before. So we're able to pull the name across, and then we just basically tell them thank you. Thank you for giving us the information. You can also contact your senator or your representative directly. We have a legislator lookup link that is there. They can click right from this page then and go to our legislator lookup tool and find if they don't have that information already. At the same time, the system itself generates an email. Copy that? There you go. So an email will come into your email box, whoever's on the distribution from the committee. That's where those emails go. We can control that at any time. If you start with everybody and then later decide you want to trim it down or expand it, either way. We just need to know who you want on the distribution list. From there, it's going to tell you their Senate district and their House district, because we can look it up based on their information from the previous page. They're also going to have their contact information, and then they're going to tell you the policy area, as well as comments, and then a potential solution. Great that they have an issue that they want to address. Hopefully, maybe they have an idea or a way to fix it, and that'll be included in your email that will come to you. And this is a standard email format when it comes across. It will be from the same email every time, so you can set a rule up in your Outlook to put all these into a folder. They're not lost in your inbox. These can be sortable. And we can also have them sortable by the policy, because up in the top, you'll notice it says government efficiency dash natural resources.
That's great.
That's the topic that they picked from there.
Awesome. So I think what probably makes the most sense is for us to go to the first page on the committee landing and just make sure that each step we approve every spot. We don't have a quorum necessarily, but I don't think we really need a quorum. And so my first motion would be that we agreed that we're going to approve this today, even if everybody couldn't get here, because we have a broad representation and I don't want to delay anything and everybody knew we were going to do it. So do you have an objection to that? Do you have an objection? Okay, great. I think if we didn't have, a variety of political scope, that might be more problematic, but
Right.
we're representative, so I think that's good. Okay, so
Tabby,
let's
can
go
you go
back to
back
that
to-
first page
You want the buttons on it?
and just look at the first button. I think that looks great. Anybody have any concerns?
The second and third button are the same link behind those as what's currently on your page. We
Perfect.
just changed them into a button to make it appeal a little better.
Okay.
Any issues with the color of the button?
I think it looks great.
Okay.
I just think this is so impressive that we just had our meeting last week,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden, magic. This is here. So
There's the magic maker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Tabby. She's going to kill me when we get done. But we also got, to be totally honest, we got very lucky. We had another project move a little bit, and I was able to pull Tabby aside and say, hey, can you get this done for us?
Yeah, this is incredible.
so-
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
I don't want to set a baseline that this will happen every time. But
Well, Missouri Doge is happy to start off very efficiently, so
Great.
thank you for that.
we're glad to help.
Okay, let's go to the next page. So Government Efficiency Portal, the Missouri State Government Efficiency Committee is asking the public to report any instances of government duplication, waste, or inefficiencies. Your submissions will be reviewed and incorporated into our ongoing efforts to make government processes more efficient and improve services. Please note that all information submitted is subject to Missouri Sunshine Law with citation and may be publicly disclosed. Does anybody have any edits to that first paragraph? Brad, are you good? Okay, great. So let's approve that. The only thing I was thinking about was, should we add something about improved taxpayer experiences or reduce costs? But that's fine. This looks great. Okay. Denotes the required field. So name. Yeah, and waste.
I mean, it has waste.
Yeah. It's included. Okay. Okay, so name looks good, and that should be required. Okay, phone, email has to be address has to, or we can't find your senator. Policy areas. Do you mind clicking on the drop down, please?
Are those based on what we said in the departments that we wanted, like, people want to kind of spitball ideas?
I think everything that was spitballed would fit into one of those, but this more closely mimics what Oklahoma had done. Because some of the stuff that people were suggesting were really specific, like pensions, for example, or the suicide prevention hotline. So,
Which for any additional category, there is other.
yeah.
So it's wide open. Yeah.
I think this looks great. I'm okay with it. Do you think we should add something or subtract something?
I just couldn't remember what
Yeah.
people had said last week.
Yeah. I only know because I looked at my notes before we walked in here. Okay. So that looks good to me. And then if other, please specify, makes sense, comment. It's got the not a robot thing and the possible solution. That looks great. Okay, before we move on, any additions, subtractions, or changes to the intake form? Okay, seeing none. The pop-up screen that's personalized.
This page was based on language we were given.
Yeah, but this was my first shot at it, so I want to make sure that these guys are fine with it too. Okay.
Or do we have to ask, like, the House, and it says representative, do they need to approve that, or?
No, we can do whatever we want for them. I mean, we're just giving a link for them to look up their rep, so that's public information. But do you think we should just not say the rep and just have the senator's info?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's great to communicate with both. I just didn't know. If we had to-
I mean, it's all public info, so. I don't know if when I wasn't serving, I would have necessarily thought of there much of a difference between senators and reps, if I'm being honest.
Right. Yeah,
It's
so-
sort of like you're elected. Okay, great. So that's approved. The automated email then. I don't think I've got a copy of that, but the email that comes to us, this is super great. So then my question is, who should get the email, guys? Should we let each senator on the committee opt in to getting the email? Or do you think we should create an opt-out system?
Also, if you want to receive them, but then route them to a separate folder, that's possible by the way that we've set it up. So that they don't
I
clog up your inbox.
definitely want that for mine.
Right, and that has to happen. If you know how to set the folder and the rule up, great. If not, call us, we'll come up and take care of it. It's not a problem.
Madam Secretary is going to go ahead and call you.
Got it, not a problem.
Do you want to opt in do you think we should do an opt-in system or an opt-out system?
So would we be getting, like, when you say opt-in, opt-out, like, only ours, or?
No, as a member of the committee, you'll get every submitted email if you opt in.
The email's created and sent to the committee. And then from there, we either have a list and we put X number of people on there. That list can change at any time. So somebody can opt into that list or opt out of that list. If you want in to see what they look like, and then a month from now you decide that's too much for me, we can either create a rule and pull them out of your inbox for you, or we can take you off the list.
Okay, and then can you, like, as a member of committee, I'm gonna get this every time, but then when it's my constituent, will be an additional email?
I don't think we're getting additional emails except what I'm going to do.
You have to
Correct.
reach out.
Right, but I will say what my office plans to do with these emails is I have an intern who's going to hit forward and forward it to the name of the rep and the senator who they
Right.
come from as they go through.
Yeah, because we're providing, in the email, we're providing who their current senator and representative is, so that you can sort and potentially forward it to those people.
From you to us, but, okay,
But then I'll forward to every senator and rep, which might actually be a little bit confusing for members of the committee, because if you're opting into the system, you could see a duplicate email because you'll get the forwarded email from my office.
I think that'd be okay though, at least I know when they come from your office that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I just kind of flagging that that's my intention to do that.
Is there, oh, is there a way to like, so we're getting these emails and stuff, is there something that's like reportable that like 200 emails for natural resources came in?
Yeah, we're going to report that at every committee hearing. I'll get a summary that we'll give to the committee at every committee hearing on Mondays.
Okay.
So, what we're gonna do here, when somebody utilizes this, there's automatically gonna be an email sent to you, to your office.
Anybody on the committee who wants one. So that's the question
Correct.
is, do you want, I feel like I have to get it because I'm the chair. If somebody else wants to take that over in the staffing, I'm happy to absolve my office of that requirement. But it seems like,
I would be okay with everyone on the committee getting it, and then, give them the option to opt out if they wanted to.
yeah, so that's my question is, we should create a rule, I think, of we're going to start all opting in and then people have to opt out, or create an opt-in rule where you have to ask for it to be added. So why don't we create, it sounds like you're suggesting, and I'm fine with that, we start with everybody on the committee getting it.
Okay.
But then I just also want to make sure that my office is the only one forwarding to the other electeds, so that way they don't get 18 forwards from, well, there's not 18 of us, there's only 7 of us, but
Now, so your office forwarding, I guess,
to like Mike and Dave, for example. So if somebody from Senate District 6 and House District 60 emails the committee, I want to make sure that we're not accidentally blindsiding a colleague, and so we're going to just immediately forward those emails to those electeds.
should we consider that these requests go to staff email?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm being perfectly frank, my staff already checks my email, so it's not a change that matters for me. But I think if your offices would rather them go to your chief of staff, that's fine. But then that seems like we'd be moving to a opt-in system, so every senator is deciding how they want them handled rather than an opt-out system.
So we can just automatically send it to the senators on the committee and make a change.
Make a different rule.
Mhm.
I think that's the cleanest thing to do, is just have it go to everybody, and then people can change the rule by contacting you and saying too much, or I want these automatically to go to my chief, or whatever.
Not a problem.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think that's the last of the decisions that we would need to make on this. Do you have what you need?
I also want to say that we're not storing any of this information in a database or anything. So if you delete the email, then there's no way to recover the information. Just so you guys are aware of that little fact. The only way you get it or can receive it is through this email right here.
Okay, I think that's great to know. I will say, okay, I'm really glad you said that. My office's retention policy may run into a bit of we're going to need to update our retention policy then, so that we're not getting rid of committee items on the same level. Okay, thank you for the heads up on that.
We can help with some rules on that topic if you want to.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, well, guys, I think we have a portal. Let's go live.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
It'll be, we got a few tweaks, but it shouldn't take long.
Okay, awesome. Well, and any other questions?
Where does it sit? How do you get to government efficiency from the committee?
Can you go back to, just go, start from the homepage if you would, Tab? That's where the buttons will show up, they're right there.
I do like buttons.
I like buttons.
Yeah.
I didn't know until you told
I
me.
like the buttons. Do we have like an ETA on when we're going live here? I mean, I know it's set soon.
What's our ETA on having it fully run? Ballpark.
Oh, today at
And then
2:30?
it- For sure, For sure in the next couple days.
For sure in the next couple days?
Yes, yeah. It's mostly ready right now.
Okay.
In fact, when she's using the form, it's actually functional. It actually, the one that's in your packet that has the email to me, I filled the form out and hit submit. It's
Okay.
just currently going to Tabby and to Eric downstairs. So we'll change that, make it public, put it out there. The change to the website is literally just making the next page go live. So these aren't big moves at this point. Now
So
it's
we'll
just
put out a
wrapping up.
press release when it's live then, so the public knows.
Yeah. And we'll let you know before we push it.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
very much.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Okay, that concludes the hearing on government efficiency.